In an unfamiliar position, Donald Trump begins a crucial phase of his presidential campaign, away from the limelight. The former president will make his choice for running mate, hold campaign rallies, and start the Republican convention in Milwaukee, where he will officially become the party's nominee for the third time in 8 years. All of this will take place over the next 10 days. Nonetheless, Trump's arrangements have been eclipsed by the aftermath from President Joe Biden's unfortunate discussion execution and a progressive faction in emergency regarding its normal candidate. While Trump's mission delighted in watching Biden and his partners battle, the previous president presently faces a period in which he had wanted to be the focal point of consideration. While preparing for a convention to establish the new ticket for the remaining 3.5 months of the race, Trump's campaign is navigating how to maximize the rollout of his vice presidential pick in the face of Biden's uncertainty. The vulnerability around Biden might have presented new contemplations for Trump in picking a running mate, in spite of the fact that Trump recently showed he had a choice as a top priority. A conservative pledge drive near him said Biden possibly finishing his White House bid could have modified Trump's reasoning. Trump has been looking at North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, and Ohio Senator J.D. Vance as potential running mates. The primary criteria for selecting a vice president, according to the campaign, is a strong leader who could succeed Trump as president. It appeared that Rubio, 53, and Vance, 39, were doing better than Burgum, 67. If that is Trump's preference, Vance appears to be in the best position to campaign as an heir to the MAGA movement because he is the youngest and is closest to the far-right forces in his orbit. Rubio's associations with givers and the overseeing class are viewed as balancing out for conservatives in Washington. While Trump's proceeded with interest in Burgum recommends he could focus on projecting for the job of running mate over picking a replacement. Given the focus on Biden, it is uncertain when the VP will be announced. When Congress returns from recess, Democrats are expected to react in a similar manner regarding Biden's suitability for office. Biden, on the other hand, is in Washington for a NATO summit and will hold a news conference where he will likely be asked about his plans for the future. Trump's campaign believes that the deadline to announce his choice for vice president is Monday, July 15, which is the first night of the Republican convention in Milwaukee. The announcement might come shortly before the formal nomination, given that party business was scheduled for that morning. Trump used to evaluate his potential candidates based on how they would fare in a debate against Vice President Kamala Harris, but if she becomes the Democratic nominee, those calculations would change. Harris's possible rising in the midst of Biden's actual decay has stressed the requirement for Trump, 78, to pick somebody citizens accept can step into the gig. At the moment, few people have a clear understanding of Trump's preference. One individual exhorting a bad habit official competitor let CNN know that this is the most uninstructive screening process they have noticed. Sources close to the top contenders have stated that they are unaware of the situation and frequently rely on media reports to determine the current state of the process. Over the weekend, auditions for the VP position continued. On Sunday television shows, Vance and Rubio demonstrated their divergent arguments for the job by articulating their opposing perspectives on Trump's vow of retribution. Vance, upheld by figures like Steve Bannon and Donald Trump Jr., embraced the possibility that Trump could select a unique investigator to explore Biden. Rubio, on the other hand, seemed to be doubtful that Trump would take such a course of action, citing Trump's previous lack of response to political opponents. On political programs on Sunday, Burgum did not appear. Other names continue to be suggested, indicating that Trump may not have decided yet. Lindsey Graham, a member of the South Carolina Senate, advocated for Tim Scott and Glenn Youngkin. The governor of Virginia, noting that winning Virginia would guarantee the election for Republicans. The conservative show stays a work underway, with few subtleties delivered about the setup of speakers or Trump's arrangements. This week's meeting of the party's platform committee will shed light on Trump's influence over the party. Conservative organizations concerned about the campaign's demands to simplify the platform have scrutinized the committee's work. The party intends to keep the consultations in secret. A choice scrutinized by Family Exploration Committee President Tony Perkins. The stage banter is occurring in the midst of nervousness from moderate gatherings, particularly in regards to the party's situation on fetus removal. Anti-abortion organizations have urged the removal of the language from the platform because Trump has backed off his previous support for a national ban on abortion. Rubio said that the party's platform ought to reflect Trump's position, and he was a co-sponsor of a bill in the Senate that would ban abortions at 20 weeks nationwide. Trump will reappear on the battlefield this week with meetings in South Florida and Pennsylvania, his most memorable public occasions since the day after the discussion. Trump has been golfing and giving his staff a break for the holiday weekend for the majority of the past week at his Bedminster resort in New Jersey. A sign of the growing agitation within Trump's campaign as they wait for the Democrats' decision on their nominee, he broke his silence with a post on social media urging Biden to remain in the race. A senior Trump advisor acknowledged after Biden's ABC televised interview that the 22-minute conversation with George Stephanopoulos had not provided much clarity.